I think the first one.
Wouldn't have to work on this.
Oh, yeah.
It's cold out now.
Good evening and welcome to the Tibet Center here in South Orange, New Jersey. We will begin by reciting the prayer for the spreading of the teachings throughout the length and breadth of the West. By the force of the blessings of the non-fallacious three precious gems, and of the truth of our pure selfless wishes, may the precious Buddhist teachings flourish and spread to the expanse of all areas throughout the length and breadth of the West. For all the people living there, together with their near ones, who have engaged in the teachings and have faith and respect for them, may all conditions adverse to their practice of the pure Dharma be dispelled, and an excellent collection of favorable conditions increase like the waxing moon. And especially for those who work on methods to accomplish the flourishing and spreading of the victorious one's teachings, which are the source of benefit and happiness, may they never be oppressed by masses of interference and adverse conditions, and may they spontaneously happen just as we have hoped and wished. The Heart Sutra. Thus have I heard once. The Blessed One was dwelling in the royal domain of the Vulture Peak Mountain, together with a big gathering of great monks and great bodhisattvas. At that time, the Blessed One entered the Samadhi which examines the Dharmas, called profound illumination, and at the same time, noble Avalokiteshvara, the Bodhisattva Mahasattva, looking at the profound practice of transcendent knowledge, saw the five skandhas in their natural emptiness. Then, through the inspiration of the Buddha, Venerable Shariputra said to Avalokiteshvara, "How should those noble ones learn who wish to follow the profound practice of transcendent knowledge?" And Avalokiteshvara answered, "Venerable Shariputra, whoever wishes to follow the profound practice of transcendent knowledge should look at it like this, seeing the five skandhas in their natural emptiness. Form is empty, emptiness itself is form. Emptiness is not separate from form. Form is not separate from emptiness. In the same way, feeling, discriminating awareness, compositional factors,
and consciousness are empty. Thus all the dharmas are empty and
have no characteristics. They are unborn and unceasing. They are impure or pure. They neither decrease nor increase.
Therefore, since there is emptiness,
there is no form, no feeling, no discriminating awareness, no compositional factors, no consciousness, no eye, no ear, no nose, no tongue, no body, no mind, no appearance, no sound, no smell, no taste, no sensation, no objects of mind, no quality of sight, no quality of hearing, no quality of smelling, no quality of tasting, no quality of sensing, no quality of thought, no quality of mind consciousness. There are no nidanas from ignorance to old age and death, nor their wearing out. There is no suffering, no cause of suffering, no ending of suffering, and no path, no wisdom, no attainment, no non-attainment. Therefore, since there is no attainment, the bodhisattvas abide by means of transcendent knowledge. And since there is no obscurity of mind, they have no fear, they transcend falsity and pass beyond the bounds of sorrow. All the Buddhas who dwell in the past, present, and future, by means of transcendent knowledge, fully and clearly awaken to unsurpassed, true, complete enlightenment. And therefore the mantra of transcendent knowledge, the mantra of deep insight, the unsurpassed mantra, the unequaled mantra, the mantra which calms all suffering should be known as truth, for there is no deception. In transcendent knowledge, the mantra is proclaimed. Talyata Om Gate Gate Paragate Parasangate Bodhisattva. O Shariputra, this is how a Bodhisattva Mahasattva should learn profound transcendent knowledge.
Then the Blessed One
Arose from that samadhi and praised the Bodhisattva Mahasattva Avalokiteshvara, saying, "Good, good, O son of noble family, Profound transcendent knowledge should be practiced just as you have taught, and the Tathagatas will rejoice. When the Blessed One had said this, Shariputra and Avalokiteshvara, that whole gathering of the world with its gods, humans, asuras, and Gandharvas, their hearts full of joy, praised the words of the Blessed One. Now we generate bodhicitta. With the wish to free all beings, I shall always go for refuge to the Buddha, Dharma, and Sangha until I reach full enlightenment. Inspired by wisdom and compassion, today in the Buddha's presence, I generate the mind intent on full awakening for the benefit of all sentient beings. As long as space endures, as long as sentient beings remain, until then may I too remain to dispel the miseries of the world. With the wish to free all beings, I shall always give refuge to the Buddha, Dharma, and Sangha until I reach full enlightenment. Inspired by wisdom and compassion, today in the Buddha's presence, I generate the mind intent on full awakening for the benefit of all sentient beings. As long as space endures, as long as sentient beings remain, until then may I too remain to dispel the miseries of the world. With the wish to free all beings, I shall always go for refuge to the Buddha, Dharma, and Sangha until I reach full enlightenment. Inspired by wisdom and compassion, today in the Buddha's presence, I generate the mind intent on full awakening for the benefit of all sentient beings. As long as space endures, as long as sentient beings remain, until then may I too remain to dispel the miseries of the world. Okay, so now we recite one rosary of Om Mani Padme Hum, thinking of compassion, the wish to remove the suffering of all others. Om Mani Padme Hum, 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 Om Mani Padme Om Mani Padme Hum. So, we have these, what would you call them, sessions, discussions twice a week here at the Tibet Center, either in New York City or here in New Jersey. And we are really working at exploring His Holiness the Dalai Lama's presentation of secular ethics. And what His Holiness is attempting to do is to show us the logical validity in behaving ethically. And this demonstration of the logic behind, or the behaving in an ethical way, is really the basis for developing a determination to engage in ethical behavior. And the idea is that this understanding of the logic is like a contemplation by which we become more enthusiastic, more committed to, more devoted to working at having this be the way we behave. And ethical behavior, so there are these two ideas. One is that our sense of ethical correctness is something that we receive in some holy fashion. And I think that the idea is that we humans have this. I don't think that animals necessarily have that. But there is this belief that ethics, ethical or moral values are God-given. And what His Holiness is presenting to us here is a notion that ethics have a validity, a logic, which is not something that is God-given. It's something that we have to cultivate and that we can see the validity of. And by recognizing the validity of it, we become committed to, we become, our enthusiasm, as I already said, grows, and we become immersed in this process of acting more ethically. So that's what we're up to. That's what these discussions are meant to be about. And the whole point of discussing is to have us individually become participate in this process. It's not me just talking or reading His Holiness's book and explaining it. It's our developing our not just commitment to, but our actually engaging in this process of becoming more familiar with, becoming more committed to acting in a more actively ethical way. So I think that reciting the mantra of compassion, which is Om Mani Padme Hum, and thinking about compassion is a way of our bringing a, let's say, a Buddhist ingredient to what we're doing. And it's, I think, a very simple, straightforward ingredient, which should be the basis for our wishing to develop an ethical awareness and an ethical practice, and that is compassion. By cultivating compassion, by having compassion be the basis for our ethical behavior, we are sort of conjoining this motivation for the way we behave with the rules or the sort of correct behavior that we're cultivating, so that we engage in life with a solid, let's say, foundation for the way we go about our lives. So that's really, I thought I should just address the different aspects of our practice. We begin by reciting this prayer that the former RINPOCHE, Yongzin RINPOCHE, the senior tutor of His Holiness the Dalai Lama, wrote, which is a prayer for the spread of the Dharma in the West. And this would have been written in the 60s, maybe early 70s. And it was really a prayer that this sort of precious teaching that His Holiness and the Tibetan holy people had brought out of Tibet and were introducing to the world. We then recite the Heart Sutra. And the Heart Sutra, in a very simple way, teaches the importance of our understanding of emptiness. And all change, all inner change, all evolution is only possible due to the fact that we do not exist in some independent way. There is no sort of core self that exists in a way that is inherently or independently there. We are impermanent. We exist moment by moment, with each moment affecting the next moment of our existence. When I say we, I, each individual here exists in some in this dependent on our parts, dependent on our physical and mental attributes or aggregates, and therefore there is no core inherent independent self. There is this bunch of parts, all of which are made up of parts, which are made up of parts, which are made up of parts, physical and mental. And it is due to the fact that we are this interdependent bunch of parts and due to the momentary existence of these, that there is the possibility of evolution. And I say all that because the work that we're trying to do on ourselves by these conversations and by these get-togethers is possible because we are fluid, we are not stagnant, we are, as I say, interdependent rather than independent. And that's what is dealt with in the Heart Sutra that we read. And then there is the generation of bodhicitta. And here we begin with the wish to free all beings. I shall always go for refuge to the Buddha, Dharma, and Sangha until I reach full enlightenment. And so the motivation of wishing to free all beings, wishing to bring freedom from suffering to all sentient beings, with that motivation, how do we go about it? We go about it by taking refuge, that is, seeking the protection of the guidance of the Buddha, the teacher who has realized the ultimate truth, the Dharma, his doctrine, which is the main. When we take refuge, what we are really taking refuge in is his teaching, is the Dharma, is the teachings by which we bring about changes in ourselves that enable us to benefit others, and the Sangha, the community of practitioners who help us along on our journey. And we are committed to this journey until our attainment of full enlightenment. We are, and when we take the Bodhisattva vow, it's not a vow that we take for the day or for this life. We are vowing to work towards the attainment of enlightenment until we attain enlightenment. So this vow is one that stretches on over many, many, many lifetimes. And in order to actually live up to this vow, we have to commit ourselves to working not just on ourselves in this life, but to working on ourselves so with the intention of continuing on this path into our next life and until into lives leading ultimately to the attainment of enlightenment. So it's when we recite this, when we think of taking refuge in the Buddha and the Dharma and the Sangha, and the next verse, inspired by wisdom and compassion, today in the Buddha's presence, I generate the mind intent on full awakening for the benefit of all sentient beings. Here, that generating the mind intent on full awakening, when we generate that mind, we are that mind which is intent on full awakening. The intention on full awakening is a commitment to work towards the attainment of full awakening over the time that it takes. And just so that I should say, as a warning, they say that it takes 3 incalculable eons from the time that we truly generate bodhicitta, we truly generate the intention to attain enlightenment, we truly feel this, we have made the commitment to work towards the attainment of Buddhahood. When we make that commitment, when we sort of assume the weightiness of this extraordinary commitment, that's when the clock starts to tick. And as I say, it is said to take 3 incalculable eons. Now, a calculable eon, I remember Rinpoche saying, if you were to make a pit 500 meters by 500 meters and then 500 meters deep, let's say a meter is 3 feet, and if you were to fill it with when you shave the head of a monk with all those little bits of hair, and then if every 500 years you throw 1 hair out, when the pit is empty, that's 1 calculable eon. So that's, I can't tell you how long an incalculable eon is, but that gives one an idea of the huge amount of time that it will take to attain full enlightenment. A friend, a fellow monk, Australian monk, had an audience with His Holiness, and he felt he had the opportunity to ask one sort of important question during his audience. And he asked His Holiness, how long will it take me to attain full enlightenment? And His Holiness said, 3 incalculable eons, the regular amount. And he was very disappointed. And I think that it's a useful story to remember, because we are not the exceptional beings who might be able to do this quickly. We are working life by life towards this. And our opportunity as human beings now, and our ability to take this opportunity and really focus it in the direction of generating bodhicitta and committing ourselves to working towards that ultimate enlightenment is extraordinary, is unique. I mean, look around us, and I don't want to judge others, but I think that we are very fortunate to even have the thought of something like the wish to attain enlightenment in order to help others. It's very nice to help someone in some sort of, if we're walking along the street and we see someone in need and we help. But to work at developing the intention to attain full enlightenment so that we can really help others, to even think of that for a moment here is wonderful, and has to be delighted in, but worked on. And that's what we're doing together. And it ends, as long as space endures, as long as sentient beings remain, until then may I too remain to dispel the miseries of the world. So it's important that if we aspire to attaining enlightenment in order to benefit others, we can't. It's not that once we attain enlightenment we would say, okay, I've done it. No, we are, not only is our commitment to benefit others and our commitment to attain the ability to benefit others, attain the enlightenment by which we can most effectively benefit others, but once we've done so, we would then commit ourselves to benefiting others until there are no others in need of benefit. So those 3 verses are really profound. They're really something to think about. Okay, so now we've jumped around a bit, and I'm sorry, there are some people who come here and also go to New York City, and so I think that here we were talking about patience and forbearance, and we were talking about patience towards the perpetrators of harm, patience through acceptance of suffering. I think did we get? And then there was the patience through contemplation of reality.
Which page?
141.
Oh yeah, we're making Steve's card is right there. Yeah, this is last one because Steve's card is here. Steve borrowed it.
So we must work towards accepting those facets of reality that are most difficult to accept, such as aging and death. Well, here, the 3rd dimension of the practice of patience, we've already had the practice of patience towards the perpetrators of harm, patience through accepting of suffering, and now patience through contemplation of reality. And so the 3rd dimension of the practice of patience involves focusing on those facets of reality which we as individuals have the most difficulty in accepting. These may include, for example, aging or death. These topics are often regarded as taboo because many people just do not want to think about them. This seems to be particularly the case in more affluent societies, where consumerism promotes the culture of youth, and yet contemplating such topics can enhance our well-being. reflecting deeply upon the inevitability of old age and death and their roles as parts of our existence, can lead us to greater tolerance towards these aspects of reality, which otherwise might cause us despair and dejection.
Yes.
So, having reached my 70s, I'm becoming
so
very
young.
acquainted with this. And it's interesting how age creeps up on one slowly. It does so faster than we think, and it goes faster and faster. And
It moves. It's for real.
yeah, I remember when I went to the monastery and I was asked to help with the publication of a magazine that the Drepung Loseling Library was putting out,
Très long, yeah.
Dreloma.
Très long, yeah. I remember. I still have a couple.
And this
Onion
this-
skin paper.
Yeah. This prayer of RINPOCHE it was in one of the issues of Dreloma. And our abbot at the time, Rizong Rinpoche, who then became the Ganden Chipa, had some poems that his predecessor had written, and he gave them to us to work at translating to put into Dreloma, because we were looking for material. And I remember this poem about someone who, as a young child, was experiencing youth, and then it said, but how quickly I become an old man, too weak to even clean his nose. And I remember thinking, yeah, I have a long way to go before that. And no, it happens very quickly. And as is said here, it's not something to be afraid of. On the contrary, the more we are accepting of it, the better it is, the less fearful we will be.
Works.
So what is that smile? I don't...
Recognition.
How do you do what you need to do before that time?
No, it's not that there is that time.
Yeah.
It's right.
Well, yeah.
It's the day.
I'm not buying green bananas.
How is it right now?
There's no point where we can say,
Yeah.
oh, that time is going to come in the future. We have to address it right now, whether we are young, whether we are at middle age, whether we are old.
Address the acceptance of death.
Yeah, the acceptance of impermanence.
Moment by moment, you would say.
But it gets easier to accept when you're 70, 71. It gets easier to
And
accept
rolling.
after getting used to it from an early, for some decades.
I
I
don't
have
know,
met
it's a
people-
little shocking when like you get up and your knee hurts. Right, I was like, oh, wait a minute, my knee didn't hurt last year. You know, your body is,
And you don't get up and
Reminding
it still
you.
hurts.
your body is reminding you, oh, wait.
That's why in Chinese the way you say hello is ni hao.
Not bad. Not bad. I like jokes like that. You like jokes.
All right.
What was your...
I've met people in their 70s and 80s who seemed to be surprised that they were in their 70s and 80s. That like they got old. They seemed, when they talked about it, they seemed, I almost got a sense that they were surprised that they were old.
I'm surprised that I'm old.
Yeah, me
But
too.
not in that sense. They were not like an accepting kind of surprise. That like
I'm not accepting kind of surprise. I'm shocked to discover old
They're
age.
enjoying it. How dare they?
The mirror will also shock you sometimes. You're like, what happened? You know, wait a minute. In my own mental image, I'm not this person who's looking back at me from the mirror, right? Sometimes that happens. It's a little shocking sometimes.
My point is, it's not automatic, the acceptance. Like, it doesn't seem to come just because you get
I
older.
see what you mean, right.
It doesn't seem to
It
come.
doesn't come automatically as you get older, the acceptance.
Right, it's a consideration.
We have to work at it.
Yeah.
But my
That's-
point is, so I'm 40, when I'm gonna be 80, it is not like I'm automatically going to be accepting that my life is almost, is drawing to a close.
Eugene,
Just because I am 80.
I think psychologically, as we age, also our mind gets a little bit used to that. Like Leslie was saying, that she's more
Maybe.
accepting now. It's just kind of a natural progression, I think.
Also,
Yeah,
we don't have
I
a
don't,
choice.
I
sort
don't
of
think
get
it's
used to it.
automatic.
I don't think it's
What are the
automatic, but
causes
you,
of
you sort of
acceptance?
get used to it.
Well, that's what we're
Big
that's what we're
question, speaking
discussing. The what are the causes of acceptance? Acknowledging it, thinking about it, sitting again. All of these things are work that we have to do on our meditation cushion, and it's not that we have to sit on our meditation cushion in order to think about these things, but when we're sitting on the subway, when we're sitting on the train, we can think about the inevitability of impermanence, the natural process of impermanence, and that it leads moment by moment by moment towards, there's no escaping it.
I'm in the middle of Lamrit, the first Lamrim Chenmo right now, the first volume, and it was, I'm processing how important it is to be human and be here and the opportunity it is. And I feel like, not everyone makes it to old age, and some die very quickly. And I think that it makes me think of that now, that it seems like those two things hold hands, the impermanence of life and also realizing how extraordinary the life is in the first place. But I think sometimes the realization of how extraordinary it is almost makes you want to cling to life more. So the realization of it being extraordinary now means if you die tomorrow, you've realized it, because who knows how far I'll get. But I think that I'm struck by that just because someone's realizing death doesn't also mean that it's also realizing old age. It could happen at any point. So
But
the importance of the life, I suppose, realizing that seems like an important thing to do now in order to be able to be okay with death no matter when it comes in some ways, maybe.
But the purpose of realizing the value of human life is to then make use of it in a constructive way.
Mm.
It's not just to say, oh,
Of course,
how
yeah.
fortunate I am. It's to actually devote ourselves to the practices by which we...
And how do you think that communicates to realizing that impermanence?
A recognition that we are going to die should infuse our practice with more vitality.
Right.
What recognition, yes, it's real, it's not something out there, it's you. Mm.
Also, that you are not different from anybody else.
Big point.
You have your own ideas about your personality and X,
Mhm.
Y, and Z, and this is education, etc. However, you're gonna age just like everybody else. You're in the same body, and you are just like everyone else.
There are things that we can do, we can, there are these,
Plastic surgery, Botox. We're going Botox.
let me just plug. South America has very good surgeons.
But this will not help me to extend my life, will it? If I go to South, you never come.
It'll help you enjoy your life. It'll keep you.
Are you sure?
So, Buddy can climb on our laps and make us happy, but Buddy isn't really able to contemplate aging and.
He's
He
hearing
seems
the
pretty
Dharma
happy.
though.
Yeah.
We
He
don't know.
met the
We
Dharma
don't know.
in his little body.
It's true.
Maybe
Yes.
he's not a cat.
Well,
He's a
maybe
cat.
he's a
Doesn't
bodhisattva.
manifest
He's a
as a
cat
cat.
and a bodhisattva.
He's a South American
But
project.
we can appreciate this extraordinary opportunity by and devote ourselves. Ethics, virtuous ethics, are one of the causes that bring about a human rebirth, and if we can appreciate our human lives and the opportunities that they provide. Viewing a cat and saying, "Here the cat is. It's sitting at the Tibet Center. It among all these things, yes, it's able to look around and see, wonderful things, but it doesn't have the opportunity to say, oh, wow, there is a statue of Kalachakra, and Kalachakra is this enlightened tantric manifestation of Buddhahood, or whatever the other things are." No, it goes around and meows and wants to go out and wants to eat. And but thinking about that helps us develop a real appreciation for, our extraordinary opportunity here.
I have a question.
Yes.
As we progress over the 3 incalculable eons, will there be lifetimes when we're not going to be Buddhists?
Most likely, we don't even know what, this thing called being a Buddhist is not necessarily going to remain the way we are experiencing it now.
Yes.
I think that we have to consider that our opportunity to work towards the attainment of Buddhahood is going to have all sorts of, it'll have different permutations. The situations that we will find ourselves in to burn negative karma are not going to have, nice, clean Buddhist insignia. The opportunities to develop an understanding of emptiness may lead us to, quantum physics and a career as a scientist where we actually study dependent origination and emptiness of any kind of intrinsic existence from an actual point of view, to the extent that we might have some kind of realization. I don't know, but I don't think that we are that there will necessarily in the future be what we think of as Buddhist nomenclature or
Right.
Buddhist.
So we can potentially come back as an animal too, like a cat or a dog in certain lifetimes.
Or a hell being.
We are likely to. I mean, along our paths.
Which means that this cat might be carrying the Dharma from a previous lifetime.
Not might be. Definitely is. All sentient beings have been. Every sentient being has been in existence, or that stream of consciousness, from beginningless time. And they have experienced everything. And we have each experienced. And yet here we are. 502 North Ridgewood Road.
Very important spot.
Working
I'm always
together.
holding this place. Just an Irish bar.
So, what are we talking about tonight? We're talking about patience. No, that's the wrong. 141, was that it?
42.
142.
Thank you. You see, I'm old. I lose my place. I need to be. What was I talking about? As I've already suggested
Cameras.
several times, everything in the world comes about as a result of many factors. In any given occurrence, our own actions are only one factor in a great range of causes and conditions. Similarly, there are always many sides of any situation. When, therefore, we suffer some misfortune, such as not getting the job we hope for, it is worth considering that the same decision that disappointed us will have benefited someone else, perhaps someone in even greater need. Though not easy, such considerations can temper our sense of loss with some sympathetic joy at others' good fortune. At the same time, the simple act of moving the focus of our attention away from ourselves will have the effect of making the problem appear less unbearable. That paragraph is extraordinary. So let's go over it
It's a
and
big
discuss
deal.
it. Because I think that our own actions are only one factor in a great range of causes and conditions. We each go about our lives. It's not that we are convinced that we are the centers of the universe. It's not that we know that we are the centers of the universe. It's that we are the centers. Each one of us is the center of the universe. But just so that you know, I am the center of the universe. It's right here at the center of the universe.
Big orange.
And this is how we lead our lives. It's something that we take for granted, and we look at the difficulties we experience, and we see them from our point of view. Yes, we can say, well, we can look at other factors, but basically we're relating them all to me. And it's really helpful to sit down and think of and really see ourselves as being a little speck among infinite. I don't even know what infinite means. It is
Gazillion.
far more than a
Brazilian.
gazillion.
George.
Far more than even a Brazilian. It's a lot. Yeah? Someone was saying something. I heard a little.
He's given that same advice who got the job and you didn't, but there's other factors. We always see things as just this and that, and that's not real. There's other factors. When you didn't get the job, someone else did. That's something good, and that's reality. But a projection, no, I didn't get it. Why didn't and you're going nuts over something that's not true. There's we don't know reality, unfortunately. I don't anymore.
So, our own actions are only one factor in a great range of causes and conditions. Similarly, there are always many sides to any situation. Now, those two sentences, we can sit and contemplate in the morning before we go out, just thinking of them for a moment will change the way we act. They will affect our behavior. And it's, I keep thinking of walking through Penn Station, and all those people, all of whom are on their life paths, convinced that, it's not that they're convinced that they are the center of the universe. It's that they are oblivious to any other center of the universe, as am I. and to really think about the fact that each one is coming at it with his or her own baggage and his or her own perceptions, and which are as valid as mine, is it changes the dynamic of our relationship to the world. When therefore we suffer some misfortune, such as not getting a job, and as His Holiness says, thinking this way will diminish the appearance of difficulty. It'll just it'll enable us to accept hardship. We will see the challenges that we face as being natural. I mean, of course, with these infinite others, we're going to butt up, and things are not always going to be harmonious, and that's just the way it is. Got it, buddy? When you don't get to go out, when you don't, that's just...
It seems like if you really consider cause and effect in this context, like you don't get a job, you get angry, you take it out on someone, and the cause and effect of that going and going and going really has an effect, obviously, on the world. But to really consider that and think that you're one more person that's not doing that is important. That's not spreading a bad cause and effect chain into the world. It's pretty profound.
Not continuing the chain of cause and effect.
Yeah, like spreading like a bad seed, because you're upset.
Retaliating for somebody.
Over and over and over and
just
over
hold
again.
it
Yeah.
and stop that chain.
Yeah.
Oh, John.
Yeah, I agree with that. Just not being part of the problem is already a lot of progress.
Tons.
Not contributing to the problem would already be very good.
And we can even contribute
To the solution, maybe.
Yeah, I understand.
Understand emptiness. I need a comic, yes.
The benefits of cultivating patience are obvious. The practice of patience guards us against loss of composure, and in doing so enables us to exercise discernment, even in the heat of difficult situations. It gives us inner peace, and within that space we gain a degree of self-control, which allows us to choose to respond to situations in an appropriate and compassionate manner, rather than being driven by our compulsions. With constant cultivation, patience, as I have described it, equips us to deal with life's inevitable ups and downs.
With constant contemplation. Because it sounds like good, that's right, that's the answer, but if we don't inculcate.
Yeah, and the word cultivation, contemplation, as you just said, it won't happen by reading this book, and it'll only happen if we really contemplate. And we can do that as we walk, as we sit, anywhere. But if we really work on that, it is only by that contemplation that we will actually develop that instinctive view, attitude towards situations. Now, I sit here saying this as if I have that. I assure you that I have much work to do, but seeing the logic of it as we are seeing it really provides that enthusiasm towards actually doing it.
You wake up the logical meaning constantly. It's easily forgotten.
What's more, there is no doubt that patience is a quality that others appreciate tremendously. Through exercising patience, we naturally become far more appealing to others. It helps put people at ease in our presence and causes them to enjoy our company. But above all, patience is a powerful antidote to the destructive emotions of anger and frustration.
I think you do get more patient as you get older. I think that's kind of inevitable.
Do you remember a place, it was on Madison Avenue in the 60s, I think it was called the Women's Exchange.
No, I don't.
It was did you hear of this? It was like women, there was a place to eat, and then there was a place where people could, knit and sell things. And did you know this?
No, I don't remember
It was
this.
on the west side of Madison Avenue,
Near
I
the
think
Whitney
in the
there?
50s or 60s. No, not so high up. And I remember meeting someone there for lunch. And men couldn't just go, you had to, so
Be
there was
accompanied.
be invited by a woman. And I was standing, and all the people who worked there were women who were working as volunteers.
What year was this approximately?
The 70s.
Okay, so we're going back.
Before you were alive.
And I was standing next to the woman who was taking people's coats, and she was English, and she was an elder woman, and she was helping people take their coats off, and I waited for like 10, 15 minutes next to her, and I watched her, and some of the women who came in were very thankful and helped put them, and some of them were very sort of rough with her and wanted their coats fast. And she turned to me at one point and said, as people get older, you never know which direction they're going to go in, whether they're going to become patient or impatient.
Yes. Yeah.
So it goes, and what determines is how we train. And as we view that, the patient ones have smiles. The impatient ones
Right.
scowl
Right,
Difficult to be around.
and are unhappy. They suffer. Well, Buddy is a patient one, aren't you? So, it seems to be 8 o'clock.
All right. Hello. Very nice, very nice.
No names. That means that
Names
no one has
asleep.
died today. Is that right?
That's right. Today's the one day that this doesn't hold.
I think
There's no
impatience.
impermanence. Impatience.
Sorry, impermanence has stopped. The Sutra of the Recollection of the Noble Three Jewels. I prostrate to the Omniscient One. Thus the Buddha, Bhagavat, Tathagata, Arhat, Samyak Sambuddha, the learned and virtuous one, the Sugata, the knower of the world, the charioteer and tamer of beings, the unsurpassable one, the teacher of devas and humans is the Buddha Bhagavat. The Tathagata is in accord with all merit. He does not waste the roots of virtue. He is completely ornamented with all patience. He is the basis of the treasures of merit. He is adorned with the minor marks. He blossoms with the flowers of the major marks. His activity is timely and appropriate. Seeing him is without disharmony. He brings true joy to those who long with faith. His knowledge cannot be overpowered. His strength cannot be challenged. He is the teacher of all sentient beings. He is the father of bodhisattvas. He is the king of noble ones. He is the guide of those who journey to the city of nirvana. He possesses immeasurable wisdom. He possesses inconceivable confidence. His speech is completely pure. His melody is pleasing. One never has enough of seeing him. His form is incomparable. He is not stained by the realm of desire. He is not stained by the realm of form. He is not affected by the formless realm. He is completely liberated from suffering. He is completely and utterly liberated from the skandhas. He is not possessed with dhatus. His ayatanas are controlled. He has completely cut the knots. He is completely liberated from extreme torment. He is liberated from craving. He has crossed over the river. He is perfected in all the wisdoms. He abides in the wisdom of the Buddha Bhagavats who arise in the past, present, and future. He does not arise in nirvana. He abides in the ultimate perfection. He dwells on the Bhumi where he sees all sentient beings. All these are the perfect virtues of the greatness of the Buddha Bhagavat. The Holy Dharma is good at the beginning, good in the middle, and good at the end. Its meaning is excellent. Its words are excellent. It is uncorrupted. It is completely perfect and completely pure. It completely purifies. The Bhagavad teaches the Dharma well. It brings complete vision. It is free from sickness. It is always timely. It directs one further. Seeing it fulfills one's purpose. It brings discriminating insight for the wise. The Dharma, which is taught by the Bhagavad, is revealed properly in the Vinaya. It is renunciation. It causes one to arrive at perfect enlightenment. It is without contradiction. It is pithy. It is trustworthy and puts an end to the journey. As for the Sangha, the great Yana, they enter completely, they enter insightfully, they enter straightforwardly, they enter harmoniously. They are worthy of veneration with joined palms. They are worthy of receiving prostration. They are a field of glorious merit. They are completely capable of receiving all gifts. They are an object of generosity. They are a great object of complete generosity. The protector who possesses great kindness, the omniscient teacher, the basis of oceans of merit and virtue, I prostrate to the Tathagata. Pure, the cause of freedom from passion, virtuous, liberating from the lower realms. This alone is the supreme ultimate truth. I prostrate to the Dharma, which is peace. Having been liberated, they show the path to liberation. They are fully dedicated to the disciplines. They are a holy field of merit and possess virtues. I prostrate to the Sangha. I prostrate to the Buddha, the leader. I prostrate to the Dharma, the protector. I prostrate to the Sangha, the community. I prostrate respectfully and always to these three. The Buddha's virtues are inconceivable. The Dharma's virtues are inconceivable. The Sangha's virtues are inconceivable. Having faith in these inconceivables, therefore, the fruitions are inconceivable. May they be born in a completely pure realm. Let's read the 8 verses on training the mind. With the determination to accomplish the highest welfare of all sentient beings, who surpass even a wish-granting jewel, I will learn to hold them supremely dear. Whenever I associate with others, I will learn to think of myself as the lowest amongst all, and respectfully hold others to be supreme from the very depths of my heart. In all actions, I will learn to search into my mind, and as soon as a disturbing emotion arises, endangering myself and others, I will firmly face and avert it. I will learn to cherish ill-natured beings, and those oppressed by strong misdeeds and sufferings, as if I had found a precious treasure difficult to find. When others, out of jealousy, treat me badly, with abuse, slander, and so on, I will learn to take all loss and offer the victory to them. When the one whom I benefited with great hope unreasonably hurts me very badly, I will learn to view that person as an excellent spiritual guide. In short, I will learn to offer to everyone without exception all help and happiness directly and indirectly, and respectfully take upon myself all harm and suffering of my mothers. I will learn to keep all these practices undefiled by the stains of the 8 worldly concerns, and by understanding all phenomena as like illusions, be released from the bondage of attachment. And now the prayer for a swift return of RINPOCHE. Exalted wisdom of all victors gathered in a drop, sole refuge manifest in the form of one wearing saffron robes, Guru Lobsang Tuwang Doje Chang, please bear witness here today that our prayers may be fulfilled. We beseech the great torture doctrine, accomplishing from long ago the vast waves of aspirational prayers, Lord of speech of the Lord Lobsang's teachings, the spreading them to the end of the earth by means of explanation and practice. Though holding the commitment, I will invite all beings to be my guests in unsurpassed great awakening, yet you have withdrawn the activities of the form body that serves the welfare of others. Is that worthy of this supreme among beings, the Bodhisattvas? Though impossible for you in telescopic existence and to abandon your commitment to liberate all beings, we beseech the new son of Nirmanakaya to swiftly return from the realm of Dharmakaya, brought forth by Bodhicitta drawn by 7 steeds. Having reached the far limits of scholarship, religious life, and goodness, please come swiftly as an unrivaled supreme emanation, full holder of the sage's teachings, and wish-fulfilling jewel. Return as the glory of Losang Tempe, magnificent truth of 3 precious jewels, Mahakala, Karmayana, and Srimati Devi, and the ocean of Dharma protectors. May you spontaneously fulfill our wish, the swift blossoming of the reincarnation of fresh moonlight face.
Khensur. Very, very